Hello everyone, David A. Cox here with PCClassesOnline.com, and today we're going to be talking about scanning documents, as well as you could do the same thing with photos. Today we're going to be doing documents, but photos is the exact same process. And we're going to be going over how to do this on a Mac. And the first thing I want to do is let you all know, you may hear some background noises during today's class. Every once in a while I get these big gigs where there's a new chain of stores opening and they hire my small business to deploy all the technology. I'm actually right now in Greenwich, Connecticut, opening up a new chain of ultra high-end dog grooming facilities that are going to be 100% run with iPads and Macs. It's very exciting. So it's a big gig. I'm actually going to be here for a week. So they're doing construction here in the store, which is where I am teaching this class right now. So you may hear people coming in or leaving. Please ignore it. So that being said, why don't we begin? Scanning documents on a Mac is actually very simple. The problem is usually when you buy a printer, it comes with a CD and all the instructions are for Windows. So the Mac users are usually pretty much left in the dark. Let me first show you how to hook up a printer, because usually most people when they scan, it's through a printer. If you do have a dedicated scanner, that's okay. It is the same process. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go here to the Apple icon at the top left corner of your screen, and you're going to go into System Preferences. Now at this point, I need to distinguish the difference between if you're going to be doing this wirelessly or if it's going to be hardwired. So if it is hardwired, all you're going to do is click here where it says Print and Scan, and you can see here I actually already have it hooked up. I'll delete it for the moment. Okay, and over here on the left hand side there's a little plus symbol. So at this point you want to have the scanner or printer plugged in, turned on, and connected to your Mac. Okay, you hit the little plus symbol. Now it should pretty quickly pick right up on it. Okay, and all you have to do is click on it, and that is, believe it or not, it. That's it. If you run into any trouble with this, this is one of those things where I can usually help people remotely. So you can always give us a call if you get stuck here, and we can help you over the internet resolve the issue. So now that is hooked in. Now if you're doing a wireless printer, here is the step. So on the print, the first step is actually usually from the printer itself. There's usually a settings icon, and you're going to be looking for a wireless setup option. At that point, it's going to scan and it's going to look for the different wireless networks in the area. You would tell it to point to the wireless network that's in your home or business. You'll then have to enter in the password, and once it says successfully connected, you do the same step that I just did here. It's just that it's going to be on a wireless connection. That's all. So today I am actually doing this on a wireless printer, and you may want to change the default printer to that one. In this case I will. Now, a lot of people, when they buy their printers or scanners, it comes with a ton of what's referred to as bloatware. It's the printer manufacturer's own software they want you to use to try to scan. And unfortunately, a lot of them aren't that easy to use. A lot of them have problems. And frankly, you never know when those disks were made. They could be 5 years old, and it may not be compatible with your computer, especially if it's a new computer. So here's the trick. There is an application that is built into your Mac, which is far better than any of the other ones out there. And I'm going to take you to it right now. It's called Image Capture. To get there, you're going to go to Finder, the little happy Mac icon, the bottom left of your screen. From here, you're going to go to Applications and scroll to the very bottom of your list. And at the very bottom, you will see here a folder called Utilities. Go into Utilities and look for it. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. My brain's somewhere else. I'm sorry. It is in the Applications folder, and it is probably right in front of me. There it is, right there. Sorry, I was thinking of something else. Image Capture, right here. It looks like a little camera icon. Now, if you're going to be doing a lot of scanning, you may want to consider taking this icon and dragging it and dropping it into your dock. That way it stays there and it won't remove itself. Click on Image Capture. Okay. Let's see here. What's going on? There we go. Okay, it just popped up. Took a second. Sometimes these things take a second or two just to connect. So now at this point, you can see here on the left-hand side, it sees the printer. You're going to click on it. Okay. If you ever get this kind of a screen where it says software is for this device is not installed, just hit install. At this point, the Mac goes out on its own and will download all the correct information. I'm doing this from my brand new MacBook Air, so that's why I didn't have it. Luckily, we have a pretty fast internet connection here where I am. Now, if you're looking, while we're waiting for this to finish up, if you're looking for a printer or a scanner to purchase, if I can very strongly recommend, call us, because I do a ton of research on this kind of stuff. And there are so many scam printers out there, that was scam with an M, that what they'll do is they'll practically give it to you, but the ink is ungodly amounts, for each, and they'll have 5 cartridges. They're crazy. The printer that I commonly recommend, which, like I said, if you're interested in getting it, we can actually sell it to you over the phone and have it delivered to your door. But it's a Canon printer, and it only has 2 ink cartridges, one for black, one for all color, and they're about $19 a piece. So I've used it myself. I love it. I have it at home. So here we go. So now we're on the screen here. The scanner is all hooked up. And what you're going to want to do is load your document into either the tray or the flatbed, whichever one you're using. Give me a second. So I have a receipt that I'm just putting in here just for our use. Usually if it's the kind where you feed it in, you'll hear the printer beep to signify that it sees that there is a document in the feeder. Now from this screen, if you see a screen that looks like this, if I can strongly recommend, click down here at the bottom right where it says Show Details. This is where you can really start to tweak everything. Now when you do that, it is going to scan through the flatbed. That would be the part that's just, well, flat. Now I don't have anything in the flatbed because I'm going to be using the document feeder. The nice thing about buying a printer that has a feeder is that if you do have to scan multiple pages of documents, you don't have to scan it page by page. You can just do them all in one group. So now from here, you're going to go to the top right, and we're going to start to configure the different settings here. For scan mode, I'm going to change it to document feeder. Okay. Now if you have a color document, you can choose that. Mine is black and white, so I'm just going to change it to that. If you change it to text, that's fine. It's just going to be a slightly lower resolution, which if you really need to keep the file size down, that is a good trick. For resolution, 75 dpi is fine. If you're doing a photograph, you'd be doing it a lot higher probably. If you're doing a photograph, you really don't want anything less than 300. Okay. Size, okay, it says typical US letter. Now orientation here, you can put it whichever way you want. You can also change this later on, so you don't have to worry about that right now. Next, it's going to ask you where do you want to scan the document to. Now by default, it wants it to save it to the pictures folder, which I don't recommend because a lot of people won't go there naturally. So here are a few of the options. You can scan it to the desktop, which is what most people do, and then you can do whatever you want from there. You could scan it right into the documents folder. Another option, especially if you're going to be scanning in photos, is you can actually have the photos automatically imported directly into iPhoto. No third step, okay? You just have to do that. You can also have it open in preview, or you can attach it to an email. I still recommend, if you're going to be emailing this document, I still recommend scanning it to the desktop. It's just that way you have a copy of the file and you can just drag it into the mail icon. Okay, I'm going to set it on desktop. Now if you'd like to name your document, that you can do it right now. Of course you can do it later too. So I'm just going to leave it, I'm going to just have it called scan. I don't really care what it's called. Format. Most of you are going to be doing one of two options here. You're usually going to be doing either JPEG if it's a photo, or PDF if it's a document. PDF, by the way, stands for Portable Document Format. It's basically an image of text. So what you do need to be aware of is that you won't be able to edit the text unless you have special software. Now, if your document has multiple pages, you may have noticed that as soon as I put it to PDF, an option popped up down here that says combine into a single document. That way you don't have to have, if you have 50 pages, you don't have to have 50 documents. You have one document that is 50 pages. Image correction, you can choose to do or not. I usually don't. I've never actually really needed to do it. Okay? And from here, all you have to do is hit scan. So right now, the printer behind me is sucking in the receipt. It's pretty flawless. And there we go. We have the document. So now you can see here on my desktop, I have the PDF. If I double click it, it'll open with preview. Now, if by some chance your document is incorrectly oriented, if say it's upside down right now, don't worry, you don't have to scan it again. There is a trick so that you can just have it be automatic. All you have to do is on your keyboard, you're going to hold the Command key and tap the letter R. And every time you tap it, it's going to rotate it again and again. At this point, then you'd hit save, and it'll save it that way. Okay. Now, if you want to email your document out, okay, I'm just quitting out of that. What you can do, you could technically go to the mail program and attach it. The easier way, which you may prefer, is you can actually take this document and drag it into the mail icon right here, and it'll do the exact same thing. I knew today was going to be a quick class, but I knew a lot of people had questions about how to do this stuff. So we're basically done. Like I said, Photos is the exact same process. The only difference is that usually when you're doing photos, you would never really use a document feeder. You would use the flatbed. It's going to warm up real quick. I'll show you the other settings real quick. Okay, there's nothing there. Oh, there is one other feature I want to show you. Let's go to color. So yeah, so here's what I'm talking about. For resolution and color, you really probably don't want anything less than 300 dpi. Basically, the higher the resolution, the larger the file, but it's going to be clearer. Okay. One other part here, auto selection. Okay. Personally, I recommend turning this feature off. You know, why don't we do a quick scan here? I have a little flyer here I can scan. Hold on one second. Okay, so I've put something in, and let's do an overview. It's the flyer for the POS system I'm currently setting up right now. Okay, so when you have detect separate items on, it's basically going to try to crop it automatically, and in this case it can cause a lot of problems. So I really do recommend turning it off and just keeping it off. Now, I don't want to scan this whole thing here. I just care about this image, right? The flyer itself. So what you can do is you can put your cursor at one corner, doesn't matter which corner, click and drag and tell the computer basically scan this selection. Now, if you, let's say I did that and I accidentally was way off, okay? What you can do is anywhere where you see a little dot here, maybe a little tough for some of you to see this, but at the corners and in the middle parts here, there's a little gray dot. You can click and drag that and kind of fine tune it so that it really is the full size of your document. Okay, so now that we have that, let's turn this into a JPEG. All right, and let's scan it. Now, one of the things you should know is if you go to scan something, or let's say you're scanning a whole bunch of different photos and you don't rename them, it's okay. It's going to automatically add -1, -2 to tell that it's different items. It's not going to write over the same file over and over again. So here's my image at this point, okay? And now to make it the correct orientation, I'm going to hit Command R, and there we've rotated it. Command S will save it, and you'll notice that when I do that, the preview over here on the right hand side is now in landscape mode also. And that's it. So what we'll do now is, for those of you who are here live, I'll be happy to take your questions. We're offering the same class tomorrow, and I know there's a lot more people signed up for tomorrow than there are today. But if you would like to take it again, you're more than welcome to still sign up. And hope you've enjoyed this. Let's get to your questions for those of you who are here live.